Hello. So we are working on Revit today. You'll be working on creating a very simple demo building that looks the same as everyone else's, just to get your feet wet. You'll then use the skills you learned from that original tutorial file to make your own designs in Revit. So to start out with, I want you to download this file. It's the Revit demo file for tutorials, revitdemofile.rbt. Make sure you download that. Then I want you to open up Revit 2024. You can type it down here in the search bar and it should pop up. Make sure you have the right version, not 2021, you need 2024. And then once it opens up, you go to File, Open, Project, and you'll navigate to wherever you have that demo file saved. It should be in your Downloads folder. When you double click it, it will look like this. I'm not going to go into depth about what all the different parts of the screen are right now because we'll get there. But just to start out with, you should have something that looks like this here. This is your level floor. Let's just say level 1, and this is a floor plan. On the left here, you have a properties panel, and it tells you whatever you've selected, it tells you about the properties of that panel. So example, right now I have nothing selected, so I'm just on the floor plan. And it tells me what the scale of that floor plan is, what the orientation of it is, it has an underlay, right? So all the information about this floor plan is in here. If I select something, so if I select this elevation, now it's giving me all of the information about that elevation. So that's my properties panel. Down here at my project browser, this allows me to flip between different views. So this is my level 1. If I want to, I can double click. None of these are going to look like anything yet. I haven't modeled anything, but I can double click on my east elevation, for example, and I will instead see these level lines. So I'm going to go back to my level 1 plan. Up here, this is kind of your tab for creating things. So you go to architecture, you can make walls, windows, different components are all in here. There's different tabs for different disciplines. So structural engineer has a tab, the mechanical engineer has a tab, and then as you get further over, there's also things that you'll need to make that are common to everyone. So for example, under view, you'll find tools for making different views as well as sheets. Under collaborate, when you are working with someone else in an office, you can both be in the same Revit file at the same time. That's one of the cool things about Revit. So that's a tab that helps you kind of coordinate those efforts. And then one we'll use a lot is this modify tab. Actually, two we'll use a lot. Use modify and annotate a lot. Annotate allows you to kind of make drawings or notes on top of your model. And modify is great for doing any kind of trimming, cutting, drawing. That all happens with your modify tab. Okay, so those were for ribbons up here, they're called. And then if you look down here, this is your display toolbar. So if you look, it has the scale on there. It has the detail level. It has the visual style. It has what the sun paths are on or off. So those are all things that impact what you're actually looking at. And then finally over here, you have some shortcuts for some buttons rather for allowing you to navigate. But generally I don't use those. I just use my shortcuts that I already know. So we learned this yesterday. Let's review them quick. There's zoom, so that's your middle mouse button in and out. There's pan, so you hold down your middle mouse button. And then there's orbit, which I can't do here because I don't get into orbit, but if I go to 3D, I can then hold down shift as well as my middle mouse button, and that will allow me to orbit around. Okay, so let's get building. Let's start out making a floor. I want you to go to your first floor level. And on this floor level, we're going to have a floor that's 15 feet by 25 feet. I'm going to go up to architecture, click on floor, and then over here you see modify automatically came up, and it's giving me drawing tools to make a boundary line. So I'm going to keep my boundary line. I'm going to click in place. I'm going to move my mouse over. So not clicking and dragging, just clicking, letting go, moving my mouse over. You'll notice that there's a dotted line there and there's a measurement there showing how nice and straight and how big it is. Here I'm going to type in 15 feet, so 1, 5, and then the apostrophe for feet and hit enter. This is just like if you draw outlines in SketchUp, right? So now if I'm going to move this down, I want this to be 25 feet. So I'm going to type in 25 feet, hit enter. 15. If I come over to here, you'll notice that X shows up right when it's aligned. So I can click there and click there, and I know that's all good. The floor I'm building right now is a generic 12-inch floor, and that's fine for our purposes. If I wanted to change it, I would just go here and I could pick a different kind of floor. Right now, a generic 12-inch floor is great. Once I have that done, I'm going to click the green check mark. So I didn't quite make this in the middle. I'm going to scooch this over a little bit so it's more in the middle of my page. So now let's see what that looks like in 3D. If I click on the house button, you can see that I have the floor here in 3D. So we're already getting a start on this, which is great. The next thing I'd like to do is go into elevation tool and elevation view to set my levels. Because right now I have just the default levels in there, and I probably want different ones that are there. So I'm going to double click on my east elevation view. And I'm going to see that here I have my first level and my second level, right? And I really want my first level to be taller than that. I think maybe I want like a 14-foot first level. It's a really tall first level. So I'm going to type in Control Z. So if I select this line, I can select just where it says 10 and type in 14 feet and hit enter. And it should automatically move it. So you'll notice it went out of my crop bars. I can't see it anymore. Anytime that happens, we can fix it. If you come down to your display bar, you're going to show the crop region. So the crop region is this box, and it means that anything that's outside that box we can no longer see. So I'm just going to move this bubble up by clicking and dragging it, and now I can see that level again. So I have a level at 0 and a level at 14. For this exercise, we're also going to have a C level, which is below the regular floor level. And we're going to have a roof level. So I'm going to copy this up. So if I select it, I can type in C as in cat, O as in oat, click, move my mouse up, type in 12 feet, or how about we do 10 feet for the top floor? 10 feet, hit enter, and that'll copy in my next level. So I have a level 1, level 2, and a level 3. I'm going to rename my level 3 roof. So if I select it, I can select the text, I can type in roof. Okay, the last level I want to set is my C level because we're going to have these floating pop-up shops that are the floor level of them will be above the water. So I'm going to select my bottom one, type in CO for copy, click it, move my mouse down, type in 3 feet and hit enter. So you'll notice that one also disappeared. So I need to make this box a little bit bigger to include that as well. Okay, so here it says level 4 right now. I'm going to change this and call this C level. And you'll notice also I wasn't accurate with my 3 feet, so I can type in negative 3 feet here, and that way that makes that nice and even. So I have in my first floor plan, let's say I also have the same floor on my second floor. So I can just copy it. I can type in CO and click here and copy it up. If I then go to my level 1 floor plan, it looks pretty good. Level 2 floor plan, that looks pretty good as well. Let's stop there for now, and then I'll pick up in the next video with what we're doing next.